During Christmas dinner, when I sat down at the table, my son took my chair and I fell to the floor. "This seat is for my father-in-law. Get out of here," he said indifferently, as if I were a stranger. Instead of festive warmth, I felt humiliation from my own flesh and blood. That night, I changed his life forever by planning my revenge. I had 57 missed calls. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The turkey smell hit me first, rosemary and butter, the way I'd made it for 40 years. Laughter rolled in from the living room, glasses clinking. My legs ached from the morning shift at the warehouse, but I steadied myself and moved toward the last empty chair at the dining table. I reached for the back of it, my fingers brushing the wood, started to lower myself down. Logan yanked it away. The floor came up fast. My tailbone cracked against the hardwood, the impact shooting up my spine. Both palms scraped the floor as I tried to catch myself. For 3 seconds, nobody breathed. "That seat's for Albert. Get to the kitchen." Logan didn't look up from his phone. His voice carried the same tone he used for ordering takeout. I stayed on the floor, looking up at faces arranged around my table. The 2 grandchildren, 7 and 9, stared at their plates like they'd been nailed there. My daughter-in-law, Bernice, tilted her head, and a small laugh escaped her throat. Not loud. Deliberate. Nobody moved to help. I pressed my palms flat and pushed. My knees cracked. The room stayed quiet, except for someone's fork scraping china. I straightened slowly, feeling every one of my 64 years in my lower back. Looked at Logan, waiting for something. An apology. A joke to soften it. Anything. He scrolled through his phone. "The kitchen has a perfectly good stool, Alonzo." Bernice's voice had that bright edge she used when explaining things to children. "Don't be dramatic." I walked toward the hallway. Not the kitchen. My bedroom. Each step measured, my back straight. The hallway stretched out, my work boots by the door, mud still caked on the soles. My reading glasses on the side table where I'd left them this morning. Photos on the wall. Me and Margaret on our wedding day. Me holding infant Logan. The house behind us with its fresh paint. My house. Behind me, silverware clinked. Someone laughed. The conversation resumed like water flowing around a stone. I closed my bedroom door with both hands, controlling the motion. No slam. Just a quiet click. The darkness wrapped around me. I sat on the edge of the bed, still wearing my work jacket. Through the door came the muffled sounds of dinner, voices rising and falling, chairs scraping. The doorbell rang. Albert, arriving right on time for his reserved seat. More laughter. Someone turned on music. I didn't move. Just sat there as the images flickered through my head. Uninvited. Moving into this house 40 years back, Margaret beside me, both of us 30 years younger and convinced we'd found forever. Teaching Logan to ride a bike in that same driveway, running behind him with my hand on the seat until I let go, and he sailed forward on his own. The day 3 years ago when he'd stood in this same hallway, Bernice and the kids behind him, asking if they could stay, just for a few months, while they got back on their feet. 3 years. The house quieted around midnight. Footsteps on the stairs, bathroom doors closing, the creak of beds settling. I lay on top of my covers, still dressed, staring at the ceiling. But something had shifted. My chest didn't hurt the way I expected it to. My hands weren't shaking. I was thinking. When the first gray light seeped through the curtains, I sat up. The house held that pre-dawn silence. Everyone still asleep after their party. I walked to my closet and pulled out the metal lockbox from the top shelf. The combination clicked under my fingers. Margaret's birthday, same as always. Inside, the house deed, insurance papers, bank statements, the title to my truck. I carried everything to the bed and spread it out like cards in a hand of poker. The deed sat on top. Thick paper, official seals. My name in bold type. I picked it up, ran my thumb across the embossed letters. Alonzo Flores. Owner, not guest. The light strengthened in the window, turning from gray to pale gold. I stayed at the edge of my bed, the deed still in my hands, while the house began its morning sounds around me. Water running through pipes. A toilet flushing upstairs. The coffee maker I'd bought last year clicking on. Bernice must have set the timer. 2 hours passed before I stood. My lower back still ached from the fall. a deep throb that would probably last a week. I gathered the papers, returned them to the lockbox except for the deed. That one I slid into the drawer of my nightstand. The kitchen was empty when I walked in around 9. I poured coffee into my usual mug, the one that said, "World's Best Dad," a Father's Day gift from 10 years back, and sat on the stool Bernice had mentioned. The same stool I used to prop the back door open when I brought in groceries. My laptop sat on the counter where I'd left it yesterday morning. I opened it and typed into the search bar, "Tenant rights, Arizona." Then eviction process, then property owner rights. I pulled a yellow legal pad from the drawer and started taking notes. The pen scratched across paper, filling lines with phrases like 30-day notice, and unlawful detainer, and no verbal lease protection. Footsteps on the stairs. Logan appeared in sweatpants and an undershirt, his hair sticking up on one side. He saw me at the laptop, stopped, opened his mouth, closed it, poured himself coffee, and left without a word. That silence told me more than any conversation could have. Over the next 2 days, I watched, really watched, like I was seeing my own house for the first time. Bernice rearranging the kitchen cabinets on the 26th, moving my coffee to a top shelf I needed a step stool to reach. Logan's mail piling up on the entry table, credit card offers, bills from furniture stores, a notice from a collections agency. The grandchildren asking Bernice if they could have crackers from the pantry. In my house, asking her. The 27th evening, Bernice found me reading in the living room. "Alonzo, we need the living room tonight. Friends coming over." I looked up from my book. "This is my living room." She laughed, the sound sharp. "Don't be difficult. Just stay in your room." I went to my room, but I added the date and time to a document on my laptop, along with her exact words. The 28th and 29th, I barely left my bedroom except for coffee and bathroom trips. My laptop screen glowed with legal websites, forum posts, PDF guides to Arizona property law. I learned about living trusts, about the difference between guests and tenants, about how ownership trumped occupation every single time. I made a list of what I needed: property deed, proof of ownership, evidence of no rental agreement, bank statements showing no rent payments received. I had everything except printed statements. I fixed that on the 29th, driving to the bank and requesting printed records for the last 3 years. The teller handed them over in a thick envelope. When I got home, I found Bernice at the small desk in the hallway, going through a stack of my mail. "Just organizing for you." She smiled up at me. "You're so scattered lately." I held out my hand. She blinked. "I'll handle my own papers." She handed them over slowly, her smile cooling. I took my mail and the envelope from the bank to my bedroom and closed the door. New Year's Eve arrived cold and clear. I heard Logan and Bernice getting ready around 7. Shower running, blow dryer, the sound of Bernice's heels on the hardwood. They came down the stairs dressed for a party. "You'll watch the kids, right?" Bernice checked her earring in the hall mirror. "They're already asleep." "No." She turned. "Excuse me." "Take them with you or stay home." Logan came down, buttoning his shirt cuffs. "Dad, what's your problem lately?" "No problem. I have plans." "Plans?" Logan's eyebrows went up. "What plans could you possibly have?" I looked at him steadily. "My plans? My house? My New Year's Eve." They argued for 5 minutes. I sat in my chair, the one I'd moved back from the garage, and said I'm not available 4 different times in 4 different ways. Finally, they went upstairs, woke the kids, and left. Bernice slammed the front door hard enough to rattle the windows. The house settled into silence around me. I went to my bedroom and pulled out the legal pad, wrote out a numbered list in careful block letters. 1. Find attorney specializing in property law. 2. Prepare eviction notice, 30-day requirement. 3. Document all evidence with dates. 4. Set up living trust to protect assets. 5. Timeline, eviction by spring. Outside, fireworks started popping at midnight. The neighborhood celebrated, voices calling out, car horns honking. I sat at my desk and wrote one final line. First appointment, attorney consultation, Monday, January 2nd. My reflection stared back at me from the dark window, backlit by my desk lamp. The fireworks outside threw colored light across my face. Red, blue, gold. I looked different, older maybe, or just done being pushed around. Monday morning, I'd make the first call. Monday morning arrived with pale winter light. I sat on the edge of my bed, door closed, laptop open to the website I'd bookmarked 3 days earlier. Thomas Bradley, Family and Property Law, professional headshot, credentials listed, office address downtown. My phone felt heavier than it should have. I dialed the number twice, hung up before it rang. Third time, I let it connect. 3 rings. 4. Bradley and Associates. How may I help you? I need to speak with Thomas Bradley about a property matter. What type of property matter, sir? Eviction. It's my house. Pause on the line. Keys clicking. And your name? Alonzo Flores. Let me check his availability. Hold music 30 seconds. Mr. Bradley has an opening Thursday, January 5th at 10 a.m. Does that work? Yes. May I have a contact number? I gave it. She repeated the appointment details. I saved it in my phone calendar under medical checkup, then sat staring at the screen. Footsteps in the hallway. Bernice's voice outside my door. Alonzo, you in there? I stayed silent. After a moment, she walked away. The next 3 days I moved through the house like normal. Made coffee in the morning, watched the news in the living room, took my daily walk around the neighborhood. Logan barely looked at me. Bernice issued orders. Can you pick up dry cleaning? She asked Wednesday afternoon. Sure. I picked it up, came home. Hung Logan's shirts in his closet, but I was gathering what I needed. Wednesday evening I drove to the public library, printed my bank statements at the self-service computer. 5 cents per page. 3 years of records showing 0 deposits from Logan, 0 rental income. I paid cash, folded the papers into my jacket. That night, I counted the money in my lockbox. $4,200. Pension payments and Social Security. Saved bit by bit. Enough for a retainer. Thursday morning, I told Bernice I had a doctor's appointment. She looked up from her phone. Whatever. Bring back milk. Downtown Phoenix felt different in January. Colder than people expected. The morning air sharp. I found parking 3 blocks from the office building. Fed the meter enough quarters for 2 hours. Bradley and Associates occupied the 3rd floor. Modest space. Glass door with the firm name stenciled in black. The waiting room had leather chairs worn smooth at the arms. Law journals stacked on a side table. One other client sat reading his phone. The receptionist smiled at me. Mr. Flores, Thomas will see you now. His office overlooked the street. Gray suit, blue tie, maybe early 50s, with the kind of handshake that felt practiced, but genuine. He offered coffee. I declined. You mentioned an eviction matter. I opened the folder I'd brought. Deed on top, bank statements underneath, the timeline I'd typed out, listing dates and incidents. Laid it all on his desk. My son and his wife, living rent-free for 3 years. I want them out. Bradley pulled the documents closer, reading. His expression stayed neutral. Any written agreement between you? No. Do they pay utilities? No, nothing. Have you asked them to leave? Not directly, not yet. He leaned back, fingers steepled. Then legally they're tenants at will. Arizona requires 30-day written notice. If they don't comply, you file unlawful detainer. Court hearing happens within 3 to 5 weeks. If you win, and you will based on this, the sheriff enforces removal. How long total? 60 to 90 days typically. He explained the process step by step, forms, filings, court procedures. Then he mentioned something else. You might also consider asset protection, living trust. You transfer the house to a revocable trust now, name a beneficiary. Could be a charity, a friend, anyone. Cuts off their expectation of inheritance. I sat forward. How does that work? He walked me through it. Revocable meant I controlled everything, could change my mind, change beneficiaries, maintain ownership, but it sent a message, made my intentions clear. I want that too. Eviction process runs $2,500. Trust setup is $1,000. $3,500 retainer total. I pulled out my checkbook, wrote the amount, signed my name, tore it along the perforation. He took it, filed it in a folder with my paperwork. I'll draft the notice today. You'll need to decide when you want it served. Soon, mid-January. We shook hands. I left with his business card in my pocket and a weight lifted from my chest. The grocery store was 2 blocks away. I bought milk, placed it in the passenger seat. Drove home maintaining the lie. Bernice met me in the kitchen. Took you long enough? What did the doctor say? Blood pressure's fine, same as always. You need to start exercising more. You're getting slow. She took the milk, put it in the refrigerator, walked away. Logan appeared from the living room. Dad, I need the garage this weekend. Moving some equipment from work. You'll need to park on the street. The whole garage? Yeah, just for a few weeks. Fine. Thanks. He left. I went to my room, closed the door, took the folder from my briefcase, added Bradley's card, buried it in the lockbox under old tax returns, looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. Same face, same gray hair. Nothing showed. The following days crawled and raced simultaneously. January 9th, Bradley emailed. Notice prepared. Ready for your approval. I reviewed the PDF at the library. Formal language. 30-day deadline. Legal consequences spelled out in precise paragraphs. I replied from the library computer. Approved. Proceed with service. At home, nothing changed outwardly. Logan used my truck Saturday without asking. Bernice redecorated the living room, moved my favorite reading lamp to the basement. The grandchildren were told not to bother Grandpa because he was tired. I noted each thing, showed nothing. January 15th, evening. My phone buzzed with a text from Bradley. Sheriff's service scheduled, January 20th, 2 p.m. They'll serve Logan directly. Be prepared for reaction. I read it twice, deleted it, went to dinner. The family sat at the dining table, plates full, wine glasses catching the light. Bernice laughed at something Logan said. I ate my meal at the kitchen stool, fork scraping the plate. I finished my meal in the kitchen. 5 more days of their laughter. I could wait. The next 4 days felt like standing on a train platform, watching the headlight grow brighter in the tunnel. January 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. I went through the motions, made coffee, watched morning television, took walks. But I watched the clock more than I watched the screen. January 19th, 6 in the evening, my phone buzzed. Bradley's text. Sheriff confirmed. 2 p.m. tomorrow. I barely slept. Lay in bed listening to the house settle. The refrigerator humming. Someone using the bathroom around 3 a.m. Tomorrow the foundation would crack. Morning of the 20th, I made coffee early. Sat in the living room chair instead of retreating to my room. Logan came down first. Saw me there. You're up early. Couldn't sleep? He grunted, poured coffee, disappeared back upstairs. The clock on the wall ticked toward 2. At precisely 2 p.m. the doorbell rang. Bernice answered. I heard her voice from where I sat. Yes? Can I help you? I'm looking for Logan Flores. What's this about? Logan's footsteps on the stairs. I'm Logan Flores. I have legal documents for you. Sign here, please. Rustling paper, pen scratching, the door closing. Logan appeared in the hallway, white envelope in hand. He opened it standing there, pulled out the papers. His face went through stages. Confusion first, then comprehension, then something darker. He read aloud, voice flat. Notice to quit premises. You are hereby notified to vacate the premises located at... He stopped, looked up. His eyes found me in the living room. Dad, what is this? Exactly what it says. Notice to vacate. You have 30 days. Bernice snatched the papers from his hand, scanned them. This is from... Who's Thomas Bradley? Logan stared at me. The silence stretched thin. You're joking. This is a joke. No joke. I want you out of my house. His laugh came out sharp, disbelieving. It died fast. Your house? We live here. This is our home. It's my house. My name on the deed. You've never paid a cent. Bernice's voice went shrill. We're family. You can't evict family. I can. I am. Logan crossed the room in 3 strides, stood over my chair, papers crumpled in his fist. What's gotten into you? Is this about Christmas? You fell. Accidents happen. I stood, met him eye to eye. I didn't fall. You pulled the chair, and that was just the last time. The last in 3 years of you treating me like a servant in my own home. Bernice stepped between us. We treat you fine. We let you live here. The words hit wrong. I felt my jaw tighten. You let me? This is my house. This is insane, Logan said. You're being cruel. Vindictive. Where are we supposed to go? That's not my problem. You have 30 days. Bernice started crying. Not real tears. the manipulative kind she used on store clerks and bank tellers. How can you do this? To your own son? To your grandchildren? You should have thought about them before treating me like trash. Logan looked at the papers again, saw the attorney letterhead. His eyes narrowed. You hired a lawyer? How long have you been planning this? Long enough. Bernice grabbed her phone. I'm calling my father. He'll talk sense into you. Go ahead. She dialed, jabbed the speaker button. It rang twice. Bernice? What's wrong? Alonzo is evicting us. He served us papers. He's kicking us out onto the street. Slow down. What happened? Bernice's version came out in gasps. We've been nothing but good to him, and he just decided to throw us out. No warning. Nothing. Just a sheriff at the door. Albert's voice went quiet. Let me talk to Alonzo. She shoved the phone at me. Albert! What's going on, Alonzo? They've been living in my house for 3 years, rent-free, treating me like hired help. I want my house back. So I'm evicting them. Legal and proper. Long pause. I heard him breathing. Have they been paying rent? Not a dime. Helping with bills? Nothing. Another pause. Then it's your right. It's your house. Bernice grabbed the phone back. Dad, you're supposed to be on our side. I'm not on anyone's side. I'm on the side of what's right. You've been living there free for 3 years? That's generous enough. Maybe it's time you stood on your own. I can't believe this. I'm sorry, honey, but Alonzo owns that house. He has every right. The call ended. Bernice stared at her phone like it had betrayed her. That evening, Logan sat at the dining table with his laptop, typing search terms. Tenant rights, Arizona. Fighting eviction. Unlawful detainer defense. Made phone calls, his voice low and urgent. The next few days, he found an attorney. Marcus Webb, storefront office, $500 consultation. Webb reviewed the notice, nodded slowly. We can challenge this. File objections. Claim oral agreement for long-term residents. Can we win? We can delay. Maybe 6 months. But if he owns the house and you've paid nothing, eventually, yes, he can evict you. I'll take 6 months. Do whatever you can. At home, the Cold War settled in. Logan and Bernice stopped speaking to me. I stopped acknowledging them. We ate separate meals, occupied separate spaces. The house felt divided by invisible walls. January 31st, Logan filed his response with the court. Claimed oral agreement. Claimed financial hardship. Requested dismissal. I received the copy via Bradley's email that evening. Sat in my room reading it on my phone while outside my door, Logan and Bernice argued. Where are we going to get money for rent? Bernice's voice carried through the wall. I don't know, but we're not leaving without a fight. Bradley's email continued below the attachment. Expected response. Baseless but standard stalling tactic. Court date will be set for mid-February. Stay calm. I closed my phone, listened to their scrambling through the wall. Their panic sounded like static. They were scrambling now. Good. Let them feel what uncertainty tastes like. The next morning, I sat at my desk reading Bradley's email. Subject line, their response, review immediately. I opened the attached PDF, Logan's court filing, 9 pages of legal language. I skimmed past the formalities to the claims section. Respondent Logan Flores asserts that petitioner Alonzo Flores verbally agreed to lifetime residence in exchange for care assistance. Respondent has concerns about petitioner's cognitive function and decision-making capacity. I set my phone down, stared at the wall. They were attacking my mind, claiming I was incompetent, confused, manipulated. This went beyond defending their right to stay. They were trying to paint me as someone who couldn't make his own decisions. I called Bradley. You saw the filing? He asked. The competency claim. What do I need? Documentation. Medical evaluation proving you're sound. Keep recording everything they do. If they're staging situations to make you look confused, we need proof. Arizona's one-party consent, right? Correct? You can record without their knowledge. I drove to an electronics store that afternoon, bought a small digital voice recorder for $45, activated the voice memo app on my phone as backup. February 3rd, I noticed Bernice's new strategy. I was taking trash to the curb when she rushed out the front door. Our neighbor Margaret stood in her driveway 2 houses down, getting her mail. Alonzo! Wait, let me help you with that. Bernice's voice carried across the yards. You shouldn't be lifting heavy things. I've got it. You're so stubborn. I worry about you. She took the bag from my hands, carried it to the curb, gave Margaret a look that said, "What can you do with him?" Inside the house, 30 minutes later, she walked past me without a word. That evening I found my blood pressure medication sitting on the kitchen counter. I kept all pills in my bedroom lockbox. Someone had deliberately placed them there. I photographed the bottles, checked the timestamp, moved them back to my room. February 5th, the pills appeared on the dining room table. February 7th, the living room side table. Each time I documented the location before returning them. Bernice made sure people noticed. Loud conversations within earshot of neighbors. He keeps forgetting where he puts things. I'm so worried. To the mail carrier, he's been forgetful lately. We're keeping an eye on him. But I was keeping an eye on her. February 9th, I recorded her contradictions. In the house when she thought no one could hear. Stay out of the way, old man, and stop touching my things. In the front yard with Margaret nearby. Alonzo, have you taken your medication today? You know how important that is. The recorder captured everything. February 11th, I checked our phone account. Family plan meant I could see text message logs. Screenshots saved automatically to cloud storage. Bernice to Logan. Margaret definitely noticed the pills. I made sure to mention his confusion again. Logan to Bernice. Good. Keep it up. We need people thinking he's losing it. I forwarded everything to Bradley. February 15th, I sat in Dr. Patricia Chen's office. What brings you in today, Alonzo? I need a cognitive assessment. Full evaluation. She looked concerned. Are you experiencing memory problems? Confusion? No. I'm in a legal situation. My son is claiming I'm mentally incompetent. I need documentation proving otherwise. She nodded slowly. All right. Let's do a complete workup. The mini mental state examination took 20 minutes. Questions about dates, locations, memory recall, simple arithmetic. I scored 29 out of 30. Dr. Chen printed a letter on official letterhead. Patient Alonzo Flores shows no signs of cognitive impairment, dementia, or diminished mental capacity. Fully competent to make independent decisions regarding personal and financial matters. I filed it with Bradley that afternoon. At home, the atmosphere curdled into something toxic. Logan and Bernice stopped pretending civility even in passing. When they spoke to me, it was hostile or performative, depending on who might be watching. February 16th, argument over the television remote. We're watching something, Logan said. Find something else to do. This is my living room. Not for much longer. I left. The recorder in my pocket caught every word. February 18th, Bernice left my laundry in the washing machine for 2 days. Everything mildewed. Oh, I forgot they were there. So much on my mind. I rewashed them, added the incident to my dated log. February 19th, close to midnight, Logan's friends arrived. Music pounded through the walls. I asked them to turn it down. Neighbors were complaining, lights coming on in houses down the street. It's not your house anymore, Logan said. Get used to it. I called the non-emergency police line. The officer arrived within 15 minutes. Logan was forced to send people home. He stared at me from the doorway as the last car pulled away. You're going to regret this. I already have everything I regret from you. I recorded that too. February 20th, Bradley called with the court date. February 28th, 10 a.m., Judge Patricia Morrison. What do I bring? Nothing. I have everything we need. Your medical evaluation is excellent. Their filing is weak, accusations without evidence, but they'll try to make you look bad in court. I'm ready. I hung up and looked at the calendar on my wall. 8 days. I spent the evening organizing folders. Voice recordings backed up to 3 locations. Photos printed and labeled. Timeline documented with dates and witnesses. Downstairs, Logan and Bernice were arguing about money. Their voices rose and fell, stress bleeding through the walls. 8 more days of their games. I had recordings, photos, medical proof. Let them try to call me incompetent. The evidence would speak louder than their lies. The final week passed in careful preparation. 2 more meetings with Bradley, reviewing evidence point by point. At home, Logan and Bernice dressed better, practiced looking like concerned family members. I watched without comment. February 27th, the night before court, I lay awake counting ceiling tiles. February 28th arrived cold and bright. I dressed in my navy suit, white shirt, dark tie. Left the house at 8:30 for a 10 o'clock hearing. Bradley met me in the courthouse hallway at 9:15, briefcase open on a bench. Judge Morrison runs a tight courtroom. No theatrics. Stick to facts if she asks you anything. Logan, Bernice, and Marcus Webb arrived at 9:30. Bernice wore a conservative dress, hair pulled back, minimal makeup. Logan kept adjusting his tie. Webb carried a folder that looked thin. They didn't look at me. The bailiff called our case at 9:50. Flores versus Flores, unlawful detainer. The courtroom had wood paneling, modern furniture, the Arizona state seal mounted behind the bench. Judge Patricia Morrison entered, late 50s, gray hair, reading glasses on a chain. She sat, opened the file, looked up. Eviction matter. I've reviewed the filings. Mr. Webb, your clients are contesting the eviction? Yes, Your Honor. Present your defense. Webb stood, papers rustling in his hands. Your Honor, my clients have resided in the property for 3 years, based on an oral agreement with Mr. Flores. He agreed they could stay long-term, essentially permanently, in exchange for helping with his care as he ages. Judge Morrison looked over her glasses. Do you have this agreement in writing? No, Your Honor. It was a family understanding, a verbal commitment. Any independent witnesses to this agreement? The parties themselves, Your Honor, and we have concerns about Mr. Flores's mental state. His decision to evict seems sudden and possibly influenced by confusion. Do you have medical evidence of cognitive impairment? Webb hesitated. We have circumstantial evidence. Neighbors have noticed forgetfulness. Pills left in unusual places. Confusion. Circumstantial observation isn't medical documentation. Does Mr. Flores have a diagnosis of dementia, Alzheimer's, or any cognitive disorder from a licensed physician? Not formally, Your Honor, but behaviors suggest. Behaviors observed by whom? Do you have expert medical testimony? No, Your Honor. Then your competency argument is speculative at best. Continue with your evidence of the oral agreement. Webb called Logan to the stand. The bailiff swore him in. Mr. Flores asked me to move in, Logan said. Said he wanted family close. Wanted us to stay permanently, help maintain the property. Bradley stood for cross-examination. Did you pay rent? No. It was a family arrangement. Utilities? No. He said not to worry about it. Any written documentation of this permanent arrangement? We're family. We don't need paperwork for everything. So in 3 years, you never paid anything? Never signed anything? Never contributed financially in any way? Logan's voice went defensive. We helped around the house. Can you provide specific examples with dates? Regular maintenance, yard work, general upkeep. Bradley placed bank statements on the evidence table. These show no payments from you to Mr. Flores, not $1 in 3 years, for anything. It was an understanding. Thank you. No further questions. Judge Morrison looked at Bradley. Present your case. Bradley stood, organized. Your Honor, this is straightforward property law. Mr. Alonzo Flores owns the property outright. He presented the deed. Mortgage satisfied in 2010. Clear title. Mr. Logan Flores and family have lived there rent-free for 3 years. No lease, no rental agreement, no financial contribution of any kind. He presented the bank statements. Mr. Flores now wishes to reclaim his property. This is his legal right as owner. Regarding competency, the judge asked. Fully addressed. Bradley presented Dr. Chen's evaluation. Complete cognitive assessment performed February 15th. Mini mental state examination score. 29 out of 30, well within normal range. Written statement confirms 0 signs of dementia or cognitive impairment. Judge Morrison read the report carefully. This is recent and thorough. Additionally, Your Honor, I have evidence the respondents deliberately staged situations to create a false impression of incompetency. He presented the photos of pills in various locations with timestamps. Then the text message screenshots between Bernice and Logan. The judge read the text, eyebrows rising. These are authenticated. Phone records confirm origin and timestamps. I can call Mr. Flores to authenticate if necessary. That won't be needed. The messages are quite clear. Bradley called Margaret Hayes. She testified briefly. Bernice's behavior seemed performative. Alonzo always appeared sharp and capable. Judge Morrison removed her reading glasses, looked directly at Logan and Bernice. I've seen enough. Mr. Flores owns the property outright. There is no written agreement and no credible evidence of a verbal agreement beyond self-serving testimony. No rent has been paid. Legally, respondents are tenants at will. She paused. Furthermore, the attempt to question Mr. Flores's competency without medical evidence borders on defamation. The text messages demonstrate deliberate deception. She picked up her gavel. Judgment for petitioner. Respondents must vacate the premises by April 15, 2025. Failure to comply will result in sheriff enforcement. The gavel struck wood once. Silence filled the courtroom. I felt something release in my chest. Not celebration, just the end of holding my breath. Logan sat frozen. Bernice's face crumpled. Tears starting, but these weren't performance tears. Webb gathered his papers quickly, looking embarrassed. The judge exited through her chamber door. Bradley shook my hand. It's over. Congratulations. Thank you. We walked toward the elevator. Behind us, Bernice's voice cut through the hallway. You destroyed your own family? For what? To live alone in that house? You're a bitter old man. Bernice, stop, Logan said. Not here. He betrayed us, his own son, his grandchildren. I stopped, turned around, looked at them both steadily. I didn't betray anyone. You betrayed yourselves. I turned back, continued walking. Bradley pressed the elevator button. Don't engage, he said quietly. You won. That's enough. The doors opened. We stepped inside. The elevator descended. 11 floors down. Behind me, I could still hear Bernice's voice echoing in the courthouse halls. But the distance grew with each floor. By the time I reached the ground, I couldn't hear her anymore. March 11th, I sat in my bedroom with Bradley's business card between my fingers. The court victory was step 1. Asset protection was step 2. I researched online that evening. Revocable living trust. Beneficiary designation. Protection from future claims and inheritance disputes. Bradley had mentioned it back in January. Transferring the house to a trust. Naming a beneficiary. Cutting off expectations. I knew exactly where the house should go. Veterans Support Fund of Arizona. Local charity that helped me 42 years ago when I came back from service. Time to return the favor. March 12th, I called the estate planner Bradley recommended. Patricia Morgan, notary public, trust specialist. Living trust? She said. I can help with that. Bring property deed, identification, beneficiary information. When works for you? March 15th, 2 o'clock. I told no one at home. March 15th, I informed Bernice I was going to the bank. She barely looked up from her phone. Patricia Morgan's office occupied a small suite in East Phoenix. She was late 40s, efficient, papers already organized when I arrived. Mr. Flores, let me explain. A living trust transfers property ownership to the trust while you're alive. You remain trustee, maintain full control. Upon your death, property goes to the named beneficiary. Avoids probate, prevents contest. And my son can't claim it as inheritance? Correct. The property belongs to the trust. Your son has no legal claim. That's what I want. She walked me through documents. Trust agreement, property transfer deed, beneficiary designation form. I wrote, Veterans Support Fund of Arizona, in careful block letters. Any particular reason for this charity? I'm a veteran. Army, 42 years ago. 2 tours. The fund helped me when I came back. Gave me a place to stay. Helped me find work. I never forgot that. I signed each page. Morgan notarized with her official seal. The filing fee came to $1,200. I wrote the check without hesitating. I'll file with the county recorder this week. You'll receive copies in about 10 days. How private is this? Trust document itself is private, but the property transfer is public record. Anyone checking county records could find it. Good enough? I drove home with the documents in my briefcase. The house looked the same, but legally everything had changed. March 22nd, Logan got a phone call at work. I learned this later when he came home early, face pale, hands shaking. He found me in the living room reading the newspaper. You put the house in a trust. I looked up. Yes. When? When did you do this? Last week, March 15th. Why? Why would you do that? To protect my assets. To ensure the house goes where I want it to go. His voice rose. Where does it go? Veterans Support Fund. Silence filled the room like water rising. A charity? Disbelief cracked his voice. You're giving our house, my inheritance, to a charity. It's not your house. It never was. And it's not your inheritance anymore. You can't do this. This is revenge. This is vindictive. It's my property. I can do what I want with it. You taught me that when you treated it like yours. He stormed upstairs, slammed his door hard enough to rattle the frame. Bernice appeared minutes later, Logan had told her. A charity. Her voice was cold, controlled fury. You'd rather give everything to strangers than your own family. You made yourselves strangers when you pulled that chair. She turned and left without another word. March 24th, evening. Logan appeared at my bedroom door. First civil approach in months. Dad, can we talk? About what? About everything. Christmas, the eviction, the trust. He entered without invitation, sat on the edge of my bed. I was wrong. At Christmas. I shouldn't have done that. It was cruel. I'm sorry. I watched him carefully. You're sorry because I put the house in a trust. No. I'm sorry because I hurt you. Because I took you for granted. We both did. 3 years you took me for granted. And now, 2 months before you have to leave, you're sorry. I know how it looks, but I mean it. We can start over. I'll pay rent. Real rent. Market rate. We'll contribute to utilities, groceries, everything. You had 3 years to offer that. Desperation edged into his voice. The trust. Can you change it? Can you reverse it? It's revocable. I could change the beneficiary. Hope flashed across his face. Then, but I won't. The decision is made. Dad, please, think about the grandkids. Your grandsons, you're cutting them off too. I'm not cutting them off. I'll see them when they're older. I'll explain. But the house? That's decided. Anger returned to his voice. This is really how you want it? Your son living in some apartment in a bad neighborhood because he can't afford anything else? I lived in worse. When I came back from service, shared apartment, 3 roommates, roaches in the kitchen, I survived. You will too. He stood. The realization settled over him that this was futile. You've changed. You're not the person I knew. No, I'm exactly who I've always been. You just never bothered to see it. March 28th, Bernice sent the boys to my room. They knocked tentatively. Grandpa? I opened the door. Hey guys, come in. The older one spoke first, words clearly coached. Grandpa? Mom says we have to move. To a small apartment. I won't have my own room anymore. The younger one's lip trembled. Can't we stay here? Please? I knelt to their level. Come here. Sit down. They sat on my bed, both looking at me with confused eyes. You're moving because your parents need their own place. That's normal. Lots of kids share rooms. You'll be okay. But Mom says you're making us leave, that you don't want us here. That's not true. I love you both. But this is grown-up stuff between me and your parents. Not about you. The younger one started crying. I hugged him. I know. Change is hard. But I'll still see you. I'll still be your grandpa. Bernice appeared in the doorway. Boys, come on. Leave Grandpa alone. She took them away. Mission failed. I sat on my bed after they left. For just a moment my resolve wavered, but I knew this was Bernice's manipulation, not the children's genuine plea. March 31st. 2 weeks until eviction deadline. The house was the coldest it had been. No pretense anymore. Logan and Bernice spent evenings on their laptops searching for apartments they could afford. I heard them arguing about money, about neighborhoods. One evening I passed Logan's open bedroom door, saw him sitting on the bed, head in his hands. Bernice's voice. We'll survive. We always do. And maybe someday he'll regret this. Logan's response was quiet but clear. He won't. That's what I finally understand. He won't. 2 weeks. 14 days. The calendar hung on my wall like a countdown clock. Red circle around April 15th. In 14 days, my house would be mine again. Truly mine. For the first time in 3 years. April 1st arrived with boxes. Cardboard appeared in corners, stacked in hallways, filled with their belongings piece by piece. I overheard them that evening. Logan at the kitchen table, laptop open to rental listings. This one's $1,400 a month. 2-bedroom, South Phoenix. South Phoenix? Bernice's voice went sharp. That's a terrible area. What about this one in Tempe? $1,850. We can't afford that. Not with my salary and no savings. We wouldn't need savings if your father wasn't throwing us out. Let it go. We have 2 weeks. They signed a lease April 3rd. Small apartment complex I recognized. Budget housing, bars on windows, 900 square feet. The paperwork sat on the kitchen counter. I saw the address, said nothing. Consequences look different when they arrive. Between April 5th and 10th, the packing accelerated, but lines blurred. What was theirs versus what came with the house became a battlefield. April 8th, I noticed empty spaces. Kitchen, my good knife set missing. Living room, decorative lamp gone. Garage, power drill absent. I'd installed a simple lock on my bedroom door weeks earlier. Important documents stayed secured in my lockbox. April 9th evening, I found boxes in the garage with suspicious contents. Opened one, my 42-inch television from the living room. Another, end tables from the guest bedroom. Bernice appeared. Those are ours. We bought those. No, they were here when you moved in. They're mine. Prove it. I went to my bedroom, retrieved the folder with receipts, returned with documentation. Television purchased 2019. End tables 2018. All before Logan moved in. She grabbed the boxes, frustrated. Fine. We'll leave your precious things. April 12th, Saturday morning. I ran errands, grocery store, bank. Returned home around 11. A rental truck sat in the driveway. 3 days early. Logan and 2 friends were loading furniture. My leather recliner, my coffee table, my bookshelf with my books still on it. Stop. Put those back. We need furniture, Logan said. The apartment's empty. That's my furniture. You're not taking it. His friend shifted uncomfortably. Man, maybe we should... It's fine. Keep loading. I pulled out my phone. Then I'm calling the police. Logan actually laughed. Go ahead. We live here. It's our stuff, too. I dialed. I need police at my address. People are stealing my property. Logan stopped laughing. 20 minutes later, 2 Phoenix PD officers arrived. The senior one, Rodriguez, assessed the situation quickly. What's happening here? My son and his family are being evicted. They're trying to take my furniture. I showed the eviction notice, court order, receipts for every piece they'd loaded. Do you have proof of ownership? Rodriguez asked Logan. They're furniture. We've been living here. We use them. Using isn't owning. You have receipts? No, but... Then they stay. Unload the truck. Logan's friends moved fast, clearly wanting no part of this. The officers supervised every item's return. After they left, the friends left immediately. Logan and Bernice stood in the driveway, just the 3 of us. Calling the police on your own son. Bernice's voice dripped venom. You really are heartless. You were stealing from me. What did you expect? April 13th and 14th crawled by. They packed only what they could prove was theirs. Clothes, personal items, things they'd brought 3 years ago. They realized how little they actually owned. April 14th evening, Bernice brought a photo album to my room. Look at these. Logan's childhood, family vacations, holidays. We were happy once. I glanced at the photos. We were. You're destroying that, erasing it. For what? Pride? For respect, which you never gave me. The boys will grow up knowing their grandfather chose strangers over family. The boys will grow up knowing actions have consequences. Better lesson than entitlement. She left the album on my desk. I closed it, set it aside. April 15th arrived with dawn. I woke at 6, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table. Heard movement upstairs, them waking for the last time in my house. 8 a.m., the rental truck arrived. Legitimate reservation this time. Logan and Bernice loaded boxes methodically. 2 different friends helped. The others had refused to return. I watched from the living room window. Didn't help, didn't hinder, just observed. 9:30. Most boxes were loaded. Bernice brought the grandchildren downstairs. Bye, Grandpa. I knelt, hugged them both. Bye, guys. I'll see you soon. Promise. The younger one cried. I don't want to go. I know, but you'll be okay. You're tough kids. Bernice pulled them away quickly. 10 a.m., Logan did a final walkthrough. Returned to the living room where I stood. House keys. He pulled his keyring from his pocket, removed the house key, held it out. I took it. I hope you're happy. Alone in your big house. I hope you learned something from this. What? That family doesn't matter. Lesson learned. That respect matters. That you can't take without giving. That actions have consequences. He turned toward the door, paused. You'll regret this someday. No, I won't. He left. Bernice appeared in the doorway one final time. You destroyed your family for this house. I hope it keeps you warm at night. Goodbye, Bernice. She walked out. The truck started. I moved to the front window. Watched the U-Haul pull out of the driveway, Logan's car following behind. They drove down the street, turned the corner, disappeared. 10:15. The house fell completely silent. I stood at the window for several minutes, then walked through every room. Living room, empty spaces where their furniture had been, but my pieces remained. Kitchen, counter clear. 3 bedrooms, empty now. My bedroom, exactly as it was. I returned to the living room, sat in my recliner, the one they'd tried to take. The house was quiet. Not empty, peaceful. The house settled into silence. Not the hostile silence of the past months, but the quiet of peace. My chair, my coffee, my sunlight. I sat there for an hour, doing nothing but existing in my own space. It felt like breathing after being underwater for 3 years. 2 o'clock that afternoon, my phone rang. I sat in the living room, still in the same chair where I'd spent the morning hour. The screen lit up. Logan, mobile. I looked at it, let it ring. 6 times. Voicemail. I didn't listen to the message. 3 o'clock, another call. 4:30, another. 6:15, another. Each time I glanced at the screen, set the phone back down. By evening, I had 8 missed calls. All Logan. April 16th, the calls continued. 4 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 5 in the evening, 17 through 22nd. The pattern held. My phone buzzed, lit up, went silent, over and over. I kept count without meaning to. 57 calls in 1 week. April 18th, text messages started arriving. Dad, please, we need to talk. I know you're angry, but this is extreme. At least let me explain. The kids are asking about you. Please just pick up. I read each one. Deleted each one. April 23rd. I opened my phone settings. Found Logan's number. Blocked it. Found Bernice's number. Blocked that too. The phone went silent. Late April, a different number called. I answered. Alonzo, it's Albert Clark, Bernice's father. Do you have a minute? I sat up straighter. I have time. I'm not calling to argue. I'm calling to check on you. And to tell you something. Go on. I saw their new place. The apartment. It's rough. Small. The boys are adjusting, but it's hard on them. He paused. I'm not asking you to change anything. Truth is, I think you did the right thing. I've been thinking about it since that phone call during the eviction. They took advantage. For years. You're the first person from their side to say that. Because it's true. Bernice is my daughter, and I love her. But she's always looked for the easy way. And Logan, he let her turn him into someone I don't recognize. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve better, and because I think you should know. They're struggling. Really struggling. He described it. Bernice looking for work, no job in 10 years, limited skills. Logan's salary barely covering rent and bills. Stress visible on both of them. Logan's been asking friends for loans. Nobody's helping. Word got around about what happened. People know he lived rent-free for 3 years and got evicted by his own father. Actions have consequences. They do. Another pause. Anyway, I wanted you to know. I don't think you were wrong. If you want updates occasionally, I can keep you informed. If not, I understand. I appreciate the call, Albert. Updates would be fine. Thank you for being honest. May through July, Albert called every few weeks. Mid-May, Bernice found work. Retail clerk at a discount store, $13 an hour. First job since before marriage. Logan working extra hours. The boys transferred schools mid-year, struggling to adjust. Early June, Albert suggested coffee. We met at a diner. Bernice is exhausted. 2 jobs now, retail plus weekend cleaning service. She's not used to working. She had years of not working. My expense. I know. She's learning what real life costs. He stirred his coffee. Logan asked me for money. $2,000 loan. I refused. Told him he needs to figure this out himself. He also mentioned Logan tried contacting my neighbors, hoping they'd talk sense into me. Margaret Hayes and others told him to leave me alone. Late June, another call. Financial situation slightly stabilized, but tight. Bernice injured her foot at work, missed 2 weeks, lost wages. Logan sold his truck, bought a cheaper used car. The boys keep asking to visit you. Bernice refuses. Mid-July, we met for coffee again. Logan's different, quieter. I think reality finally hit him. What kind of different? Defeated, maybe. Or just grown up. He mentioned you the other day. Said he understood now why you did it. Understanding comes easier after consequences. True. Albert set down his cup. Listen, I know this is complicated, but the boys miss you. I could arrange visits, at my place, without Logan and Bernice present. I considered this. I'd like that. Let's set something up. Late July afternoon, Albert visited my house. First time he'd seen it since everything exploded. I gave him a tour. Living room restored to how I liked it. Kitchen organized, bedrooms empty but clean. It looks like you again. When they were here, it felt different. Cluttered, chaotic. It felt like someone else's house with me as a guest. We sat on the back patio. I made coffee. I owe you an apology. For what? Christmas. I showed up for dinner that night. I didn't know what happened. The chair, the fall, until later. But I should have noticed how they treated you. Should have said something earlier. You weren't responsible for their behavior. Still, I saw signs. The way Bernice ordered you around. Logan's entitlement. I thought it was just family dynamics. Didn't realize how bad it was. Most people don't see what they're not looking for. You did the right thing, evicting them, the trust, all of it. They needed to learn they can't just take from people, even family. Especially family. Thank you for saying that. It means more than you know. You're a good man, Alonzo. Better than they deserved. We drank coffee in comfortable silence. The boys. We should arrange that visit. Maybe this Saturday. They could come to my place for lunch. You could join us. I'd like that very much. First grandchildren visit happened that Saturday, at Albert's house. The boys cautious at first, then warming up. Mom said you were mad at us, the older one said. Never at you. Never. I love you both. We spent the afternoon together. Cards, talking, ice cream. Arrangements set for monthly visits. Late July, life developed its rhythm. Phone silent of Logan's calls. House peaceful, organized, mine. Morning coffee on the patio. Afternoon projects. Evening reading. I repainted a guest bedroom. Fixed the fence gate. Replanted the garden. One weekend I hosted a small barbecue. 3 retired colleagues from the auto shop where I'd worked 20 years. You seem lighter, one said. Happier. I feel like myself again. Margaret waved from her yard one evening. I waved back. July faded into August heat. The phone stayed quiet. No more calls from Logan. No more desperate messages. Just silence. And in that silence I found something I hadn't felt in 3 years. Contentment. The house was mine. The days were mine. My life, finally, was mine again. Early August, I painted the front porch railings. They'd needed it for years. White paint, fresh and clean, the brush moving in steady strokes while the morning sun climbed higher. The neighborhood woke up around me. Cars backing out of driveways, coffee smells drifting from open windows. Normal sounds, peaceful sounds. I fixed the squeaky fence gate that afternoon. Small satisfaction in the repair, in the silence when I swung it open and closed. Another day, I reorganized the garage. Found items Logan left behind, an old basketball, some tools. I didn't call him, donated them to Goodwill instead. My social calendar filled. Coffee with Albert every other week. Lunch with retired colleagues. Margaret invited me to a neighborhood potluck. I went. Brought potato salad. Mr. Patterson, 70-something, caught me at the dessert table. Good to see you smiling again, Alonzo. Been a while. I realized he was right. I was smiling more. Mid-August, Albert called about the boys. They've been asking to see your house. Would you be comfortable with that? I'd bring them, stay the whole time. Logan and Bernice won't know. I'd like that. Tell them to bring swim trunks. I'll set up the sprinkler. Saturday afternoon, Albert brought them. They hesitated at first, looking around. It looks different, the older boy said. Empty. It's not empty. It's just simpler now. Where's our stuff? Our room? Albert knelt to their level. You have your room at the apartment, remember? This is Grandpa's house. I deflected quickly. Come on, let's go outside. I've got the sprinkler set up. The backyard filled with laughter. They ran through the water, soaking wet, shouting. I watched from the patio, Albert beside me. Thank you for this. They needed to see you're okay, that you still love them. I do. Always will. This was never about them. They understand more than you think. Kids are perceptive. Later, I made them sandwiches and lemonade. We ate on the patio. Boys chattering about school, friends, the pool at their apartment complex. The older one suddenly stopped, mid-sentence. "Are you happy, Grandpa? Mom says you're lonely here." I met his eyes. "I'm not lonely. I'm peaceful. There's a difference." He thought about this, nodded like he understood something adults usually missed. When they left, both hugged me tight. The younger one whispered, "I miss you. I miss you too. But we'll keep seeing each other. Promise." Late August morning, I worked in the front yard, trimming bushes, edging the lawn. A car slowed in front of the house. I recognized it. The cheaper sedan Logan bought after selling his truck. The car stopped across the street. I continued working, didn't look directly at it. But I was aware, completely aware. 5 minutes passed. The car remained, engine off. I finished one bush, moved to the next. Maintained calm appearance. 10 minutes now. Finally, I glanced over. Logan sat in the driver's seat looking at the house. Our eyes met. His expression carried something I hadn't seen before. Uncertainty. Maybe regret. I held his gaze. Neutral. Didn't wave, didn't gesture, just looked. He looked away first. Down at his steering wheel. Sat there another 5 minutes. 15 minutes total. I returned to the yard work, heard the engine start. Peripheral vision caught the car pulling away. I didn't watch it go, kept trimming. But I listened to the sound fade down the street. When silence returned, I paused, set down the clippers, sat on the porch step. Logan had come, but couldn't get out of the car. Couldn't cross the street, couldn't knock on the door. Just sat there, looking at what he'd lost. And I understood. The revenge wasn't in his suffering. It was in his comprehension. He finally understood consequence. Understood what he threw away. That gulf between us, he created it. And now he knew it couldn't be crossed. Later that day, I sat on the back patio, reflecting. No anger, no satisfaction, no triumph. Just quiet acknowledgement that the message had been received. I didn't need his apology, didn't need his acknowledgement. I already had what mattered. Evening of August 30th, I sat on the front porch. Temperature cooling as the sun lowered. Sky painted orange and pink over the Phoenix horizon. I rocked in my father's old chair, the one I'd brought from storage. Glass of lemonade sweating in my hand. The street stayed quiet. Neighbor kids riding bikes. A couple walking their dog. Margaret waved from her porch. I waved back. The house behind me glowed warm in the windows. Sprinkler running in the backyard, tick, 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 against the grass. This house, bought 40 years ago, raised my family here, lost Margaret here, nearly lost myself here, but now reclaimed, not just legally, spiritually. It felt like home again. Christmas dinner felt distant now, like a different lifetime. The fall, the humiliation, the Cold War, the eviction, necessary steps, not pleasant, but right. Logan's 57 calls. This morning's car across the street. Final punctuation marks. I wasn't waiting for anything anymore. Not for Logan to apologize. Not for Bernice to understand. Not for vindication. I already had it. In this quiet house. These peaceful evenings. This freedom to live as I chose. The sunset deepened. Sky darkening to purple. Stars beginning to appear. I sipped lemonade. Rocked gently. A dog barked somewhere. Kids laughed down the street. Normal sounds. Peaceful sounds. For the first time in 3 years, I wasn't angry, wasn't planning, wasn't fighting. Just existing. Just being. Just home. The sun set behind my house, painting the sky in colors that felt earned. I rocked slowly in my father's old chair, lemonade cold in my hand, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Truly at home. Not just in my house, but in my life. The quiet victory wasn't in their struggle, or in Logan unable to face me. It was in this. Me, my porch, my peace. I'd won the moment I decided I deserved better. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.